What was the quietest kid at your school hiding the whole time? If you asked anyone about Mouse back in high school, they'd say the same thing. Nicest kid they ever met. We called him Mouse because he was so quiet. When Blake Donovan purposely body slammed him into a locker sophomore year to impress his football buddies, Mouse didn't even flinch. Just picked up his own scattered books, said accidents happen, and vanished to his part-time job like clockwork. Every day, 3:15 sharp, Mouse was gone. Teachers used him as an example of the perfect student. He'd carry entire group projects, explain calculus at midnight, lend you lunch money, and forget to ask for it back. The guy was so peaceful it made you wonder if he even had a pulse. Like he was sleepwalking through high school while the rest of us were drowning in drama. Then 10th grade hit, and Mouse went from quiet to practically mute when Emma Zupan got assaulted by 3 varsity players at a house party. We all knew it happened. They bragged about it in the locker room like they'd won another game. There were texts. Witnesses saw her barely conscious when they dragged her upstairs. Didn't matter. Their parents hired lawyers. The school buried it. Police said insufficient evidence. The school cared more about championships than justice. Emma tried to survive it. She came back to school and lasted 8 weeks of pure hell. Their smirking faces in the hallways. Notes shoved in her locker describing that night. Whispered reminders that followed her everywhere until she couldn't breathe. By November, she'd transferred to a different school, but trauma doesn't care about zip codes. 3 weeks later, they found her dead with a note that named all 3 of them. None of it mattered because their parents had lawyers and the school had a championship to win. Those 3 played for their trophy while her family was planning her funeral. I spotted Mouse at her funeral, standing alone in the back row. Just paying respects, he said when I asked. Weird thing was, I never knew they were friends. The rest of high school went by in a blur after that. We all just pushed through to graduation, trying not to think about how wrong everything felt. Then somehow Mouse and I ended up at the same state college. Started as accident, bumping into each other at freshman orientation. By sophomore year, we were inseparable. He'd help me through organic chemistry. I'd drag him to basketball games. We'd stay up until 4 a.m. debating philosophy or playing stupid video games. Mouse was still quiet, but with me, he'd actually laugh sometimes. One night after we destroyed our rival school in homecoming, both of us drunk on cheap beer and victory, he asked me something strange. Remember Emma Zupan? Of course I did. Remember those 3 guys? He opened his laptop. The screen showed dozens of folders, each labeled with their names. Inside, Facebook profiles, Instagram posts, court records, employment histories, college applications, grades, relationships, everything about their lives for 5 years, documented and categorized. This one works at McDonald's now, he said, clicking through files with practiced ease. Lost his scholarship when his GPA tanked. This one's doing 18 months for assault, different girl, but the prosecutor got an anonymous tip about his history. And this one, he pulled up a news article. Never made it to college. Lives at home, no job, posts angry rants about how the world screwed him over. How do you know all this? He looked at me with that same calm expression, but his eyes were different, satisfied, exhausted. Because I did it. The truth came out in pieces. Emma hadn't been just some girl from English class. They'd been friends since middle school, lab partners who both wanted to be doctors. After she died, Mouse quit his actual job and spent 20 hours a week for 3 years ensuring those guys would never succeed. I got myself assigned to their group projects, he explained, showing me a color-coded spreadsheet mapping out 3 years of planning. Then I'd submit things late, give them wrong study guides, tank their grades just enough to lose scholarships. He showed me screenshots of their group chat where they joked about assaulting Emma. Sent these anonymously to college admissions, scholarship committees, employers, not fake evidence, just their own words finding the right audience. The methodical nature stunned me. He'd learned one guy's email by reading over his shoulder, used it to access other accounts, mapped their digital lives. When they applied for internships, anonymous tips arrived about pending investigations. When they tried joining fraternities, brothers received forwarded assault jokes. Nothing illegal, Mouse emphasized, just strategic documentation and distribution of truth. The system gave them a pass because they could throw a ball. I made sure Karma had their forwarding address. He paused. They destroyed her in one night. I took 3 years to return the favor. Why tell me? I asked. Because you're my friend. Because I needed someone to know. He closed the laptop. Sometimes I wonder if I went too far. I thought about Emma's little brother at the funeral, asking why his sister wasn't coming home for Christmas. I thought about those 3 guys graduating like heroes while her desk sat empty. They got what they deserved, I said. Mouse nodded slowly. They never saw me coming because guys like me don't fight back. We just smile, take notes, and wait. The system let them walk free. Mouse made sure they'd never walk far, and I'm glad he did it.